Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com. Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a weekly podcast focusing on e-commerce topics featuring interviews with prominent people in the e-commerce space.
Well, welcome to another edition of E-Commerce Conversations by Practical E-Commerce. My name is Kerry Murdoch, and we're joined today by Keirsun Scott. Keirsun is Social Media Director with OneUpWeb, an integrated online marketing company, and he's here to talk to us today about social media as it relates to e-commerce companies. Keirsun, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Kerry.
We want to talk about social media. Keirsun, tap into your expertise as Social Media Director there at OneUpWeb. Our listeners, of course, are e-commerce merchants. I wonder if you could tell us, first of all, what is social media?
Well, basically, social media is kind of a blanket term that people use to describe technologies and the methods that people use to pretty much communicate online. When they want to share opinions, experiences, perspectives, and the tools of social media could include everything from forums, message boards, blogs, wikis, right into podcasts and photo sharing, video sharing, you name it. Any tool online that lets consumers communicate with each other can pretty much be, summed up under the social media umbrella.
Should that interest e-commerce merchants? I know there's a lot of hype out there on social media. We all read about what's going on Facebook and MySpace and Twitter and YouTube, and we wonder, is it something a smaller e-commerce merchant, is it something he or she should be thinking about?
Absolutely, because I think it should interest every e-commerce merchant, and they should be thinking about how they can present their brand online. The internet is run by the consumer. The old days of the passive consumer who want to be spoon-fed advertising, they're just kind of a dying breed, so to speak. And the online consumer is really connected, and they trust those connections. And any and all e-commerce retailers, from the large Amazon retailer to the little guy, they can look forward to establishing trust with their consumers. And if they can establish that trust, they have a great chance of transferring that trust over to their customers' extended network.
Say I own a site that sells boating supplies. You guys are up in Traverse City, Michigan, so I'm going to give the example of boating supplies here.
All right.
Say I sell boating supplies on an e-commerce site. Say it's myself and two other people with my company. Let's assume I do $1 million a year in annual sales. Tell me some easy to implement ideas as to how, with my company, with my size, the number of employees I have, which is 2 in addition to myself, what can I do to implement some social media marketing ideas that can help my boating supply business?
Sure. Well, first of all, I always say it's important to determine, what's relevant to your consumer. So in this case, what would be relevant to the boating supply consumer? Because you want to make sure you use social media that engages your consumer. So, figuring out what's relevant is really the first step. With a boating consumer, it could be anything. One of the easy things you could do is just set up a message board for your customers to to talk about your products, give opinions on what they like, what they don't like. Just offer them that forum that they can use for product feedback and discussion. If you've gone, another step and you have commercials out there for your company, look at repurposing those commercials for, a video sharing site, even if it's YouTube or whatever. In my mind, a boat owner is just going to be, fascinated with that image of the boat out on the water. It's kind of, it kind of symbolizes the image of freedom, so to speak. And so maybe what they want to see is they want to see photos or they want to see video on how your products work. Even if it's just, starting up a group on a photo sharing site, showing your products, showing how your customers use your products, and let the customer upload photos as well of their boat and how your products have, helped them enjoy the boating experience even more.
Shoot me some names of some photo sharing sites that one of our listeners could do that with.
Well, the easiest one would be Flickr, which is owned by Yahoo, and that's probably the most well-known photo sharing site, simply because it makes it really, really easy for the user to set up a group, set up a theme that they want to focus on, and Flickr's great because they have all kinds of little tools, little widgets you can use to embed photos on another website. So say you have your website, you can embed right there on your home page, some of your photos from your Flickr group. And so somebody coming to your site can easily get into there and start uploading their own photos.
Okay. Can they respond? Can they post comments on photos within that group in Flickr?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So in your idea, in our hypothetical boating supply company, they could upload photos to Flickr, create a Flickr account. That's free, by the way, isn't it? Flickr is free?
The base account is free. You can pay a little bit more to get more storage and stuff, but the base account is absolutely free.
Okay. So they could create an account, they could upload interesting photos relating to boating or boating supplies, set up a group to invite other folks to do the same, and essentially start a conversation with photos and with comments around folks that have an interest in boating and boating supplies. And the merchant, as a boating supply retailer, can kind of lead that conversation. Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly, and with a small company with 2 or 3 people, there's no real overhead there, just a little bit of time investment on just setting it up, getting it going, and then pointing your customers in the right direction where they can go to contribute to that photo group. What
about Facebook, MySpace? Should merchants look at those 2 sites?
It really depends on the product that you want to promote. I always, with a B2C site, an e-commerce site, yeah, it's always a good idea. If it's something that, you have someone in-house or you want to hire it out to put that time investment into it, absolutely. Because it gives another branding channel, and it also gives another place for your customers to go to learn more about your products. A MySpace page is great for, building a community within MySpace, because you're going to get people within that site itself kind of coming in there and learning more about your products, and then they can share their opinions, share their experiences with your product right there on the MySpace page. So that's another option to do as well. That's a little bit more time investment than just, setting up a Flickr photo group, though.
Let me ask you this, Keirsun. Do you know of an e-commerce merchant who is successfully using social media? Give us an example, if you could.
Sure. Well, recently we did a couple white papers called Social Media Marketing Hits and Misses from OneUpWeb here, and it pretty much looked at some of the hot holiday products and brands for this past holiday season in 2007, just to kind of see how they were utilizing social media and how that fared for them. One retailer we looked at was Pronto, who's kind of an e-commerce shopping site, and they really liked using message boards, user profiles, allowed their customers to easily review products and share their reviews with other people. That's just one example. Another example we looked at was Play-O, which is kind of a very interesting toy. It's kind of along the dinosaur realm, and they really looked at, getting a forum going so people could really contribute ideas that they had or how this would be a great gift for members of their family. And in addition to, user-generated videos that people produced with their new Play-O toy. So those were a couple that we looked at that were really working in the social media realm. Some other retailers out there. 1-800-Flowers has a great YouTube presence where they give advice on flower care, and they have great gift demonstrations, and Martha Stewart's seen on there a lot. Chumby. I don't know if you're familiar with Chumby at all.
How do you spell Chumby?
Chumby. Well, Chumby is another product that's difficult to describe a little bit, but it's kind of like the size of an alarm clock where you plug it in and it runs it off your wireless internet connection, and it just displays all kinds of content from the web, whether you want to see news, whether you want to see weather, whether you want to see videos, anything of that nature. Well, they've really been pushing, e-commerce sales. They have a really great group on Flickr where it's called Show Off Your Chumby. So people submit their photos showing, just the location where they keep their chumbies, what kind of content they display, so forth. So that really inspires, customers who have already bought the product to come back and show how their chumby fits into their daily lives, and which in turn inspires new customers to, go ahead and purchase one.
Let me digress just for a minute. You mentioned forums. Play-O, was that the site you mentioned? Yeah. How do you spell that again? That's
Pleo.
P as in Paul, L-E-O. And the forums that you're referring to there, that's a forum on that site. So there people can dialogue, consumers can dialogue with each other on the very e-commerce site, right?
Correct, yep.
Okay, all right. And you were mentioning that Amazon may be moving into Twitter. How is Amazon using Twitter?
They're using it to promote really good deals on Amazon. It's actually called Amazon Deals. And Twitter is a site where you can post a message, kind of like a blog, but Twitter keeps you to 140 characters or less. So it's real short, just updated posts, and some people describe it as, what happens between blog posts. And you can get Twitter updates on your mobile phone, or you can go online and get them anywhere you have internet access. So what Amazon has done is they can keep a continual stream going of their best deals, and it's called Amazon Deals. So kind of the hot deals on Amazon, you can just have that running list going at all times.
Wow. And
so they've done a good job at integrating with some of their promotions on the site right into their Twitter account.
This has been an interesting, a fun conversation. Do you have anything else, Keirsun, that you'd like to offer to our listeners? Our listeners, again, are e-commerce merchants. Anything else on your mind that they should know about social media to help their business?
Sure. A couple of things I just wanted to throw out there. Really think about what's going to engage your e-commerce customer and act on it. Look for the social media realm that you think your customers are going to utilize, and the content that would help them promote your product and act on that. And become as translucent as possible. Open up to your customer as a human, and they'll respond as the humans that they are. And really think about dedicating someone within your company, or looking for a company to help consult with you to help lead the conversation and establish the goals that you're looking for when you're looking into social media marketing. And also think about your other online marketing efforts out there. One of the big things we suggest here at OneUpWeb is integrate as much as possible. look at your keywords that you're promoting through natural search or paid search, and think about, how those keywords can integrate into social media. Going back to the Amazon deal, I'm sure one of the top keywords that brings people to their site is Amazon Deals, and hence that's the name of their Twitter account, Amazon Deals. Right there is an integration of natural search with social media.
That makes sense. Merchants that are listening to this, I assume they can call you up and brainstorm social media ideas that they may have or some confusion they may have. Can they call you up and just talk to you about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. All right. Well, Keirsun Scott, Social Media Director with OneUpWeb, an integrated online marketing company, we thank you for your time today, sir.
Thank you, Terry.
That's all the time we have for this week's e-commerce conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please tune in next week for another new episode.